and I say this as a woman and somebody who cares about my gender, as I should, I think this woman, Kamala, is so far out in left field when it comes to the rights of women over, say, 0.01% of the community, that she's willing to sacrifice women. And that's what's troubling. So everybody's like, oh, wow, that's great. We have a first woman president. Well, does this woman, Kamala Harris, actually care enough about women? Listen to what she had to say just the other day about how her record was in California when it came to transgenders that were in the prison system. And if they wanted to get operations to change their actual gender, then she was very much in favor of that and did what she could to make sure that taxpayer dollars were going to this. And you tell me how you think about this. Here, let's cue this one up.
When I was Attorney General, I learned that the California Department of Corrections, which was a client of mine, I didn't get to choose my clients.
Right. A client of the Attorney General.
A client of the Attorney General,
right.
Of the Office of Attorney General, that they were standing in the way of surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. And there was a specific case. And when I learned about the case, I worked behind the scenes to not only make sure that that transgender woman got the services she was deserving. So it wasn't only about that case. I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need. And I believe it was not only, I know it was historic in California, but I believe actually it may have been one of the first, if not the first in the country, where I pushed for that policy in a Department of Corrections.
So you can pay for it. I mean, this is not somebody, in my estimation, who's really putting women and girls first. She's putting her political career first. And I think it's bad politics, but that's just me. I mean, I think that if you actually have women wake up to this realization that they're actually becoming second-class citizens pretty darn fast because of this effort to promote men over women. I mean, you look at the Olympic situation that's going on, and we'll get to that in the boxing ring, but someone's actually going to think about the well-being of girls and women. And Kamala Harris is just thinking about how she's going to advance her political career, and she thinks that this is the most expedient way to do so. So she wants you to know, okay, like even though she had the California Corrections Division as her client, she was working aggressively to make sure that everybody could get an operation that wanted one that was a transgender in the California prison system. Wow. Okay, so we're glad our money's going to great places. Forget about education. Forget about helping people really, really, really in need. We're going to go to the 0.01%, which apparently is increasingly becoming like 0.05%, right? Anyway, let's go to what's happening there in the Olympics, because this was quite a story, quite a story, very, very disturbing. There's an Italian boxer. I'm not going to show you the clip, but you can probably find it online. An Italian boxer that was effectively forced out of the ring, ladies and gentlemen, because she was hit so badly. Angela Carini, she was actually warned not to fight this person, Iman Khalif, who's an Algerian, and I guess somebody who has both XY chromosomes, which, by the way, I don't think makes you a woman, but hey, I'm old-fashioned. So she's in the boxing ring with this other person that the Olympic Committee was like, sure, okay, like gave the total, high five to, and allowed this person who actually has tested positive for so much testosterone to be in the ring with Carini, this young Italian woman. Well, within the first 46 seconds of the fight, she was hit so badly, that she left in tears. And she spoke with the media for quite a while after in just this, state of shock, disbelief, hurt. She was crying, and she was upset because I think she felt very betrayed by the Olympic Committee, who somehow was out there to tell her it was safe. It was safe to compete against this other boxer. It's very confusing. I guess there's some XY I believe chromosomes. Is that correct, Drew? I mean, this is really pretty sort of bonkers. Here's the article. It says there has been some controversy over whether Caliph was actually born a male or a female, with some claiming she is a hermaphrodite condition, which features higher than usual levels of androgens or male hormones. However, earlier this year, the IBA president told a Russian news agency that DNA tests proved she did have XY chromosomes, and therefore, at least for IBA, this is the International Boxing Association, she was excluded from some of those sporting events. So again, this is what the IBA is saying. The IBA is like, no, this is not actually technically a woman. And the Olympic Committee may be under this pressure. I mean, remember, did you see the opening ceremony? I mean, so much for good old-fashioned wholesome entertainment, for goodness sakes. This sort of sacrilegious, blasphemous, horrible opening thing, and then their explanation for it all was, oh, we just want to be inclusive as we slap Christianity in the face. Anyway, you wonder how much these things are connected, because they were perfectly fine having this person who the International Boxing Association was like, absolutely not, no way. They put this person in the ring with Angela Carini, and actually her whole country, like Italy, was like, don't do it, don't do it. Her coach said, don't do it, don't participate in this fight. But it's the Olympics, and she was excited to be in the Olympics, and I think she probably actually felt like, well, the Olympic Committee wouldn't actually do this. Let me quote her. She said, I'm used to suffering. This is moments after. She spoke for 20 minutes, by the way, with reporters, while crying. I mean, she's tears coming down her face. She said, I've never taken a punch like that. It's impossible to continue. I'm nobody to say it's illegal. I got into the ring to fight, but I didn't feel like it anymore after the first minute. I started to feel a strong pain in my nose. I didn't give up, but a punch hurt too much. And so I said, enough. I'm leaving with my head held high. She's gone on to say she has never in her life, in her entire career as a boxer, ever felt a punch like that. I'd like Kamala Harris to weigh in on this, right? Because how is this right? I mean, are we so obsessed with political correctness that we're going to put girls in a very disadvantaged position? And if you're willing to do that, then what about everything else? I mean, what about the economy? It seems to me that if you're willing to do this to young women, you're also willing to do a lot, right? Like, you're very willing to do a lot, all in the name of political correctness. So that political correctness eventually gets you straight into the economy. And I care about the economy because that's my entire background. I've spent 20 some odd years as a business journalist. And I'm very worried that this team that wants to get in there, and hey, look, I mean, the vetting process is very slim. We don't have a lot of time. We know that she's got a terrible laugh, that she speaks in kind of a word salad arrangement, and that she had a very, very sort of liberal upbringing with parents who had very different philosophies, and I would say are sort of what you would consider mainstream America, but we don't know much more than that. So what happens to the U.S. economy with somebody who might have a real socialist style mentality coming in? What happens to your money, to your future? I mean, these are important things to actually think about, because I think one thing leads to another. Quick reminder, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to 76 Research. It's really important right now. I'll put that up on the screen right now. This is the company, the financial research company I started with a very dear friend named Rob Horton, who has been on Wall Street for the last couple decades as a stock picker, ran billions of dollars at mutual funds, and is just phenomenal, extremely smart. I'm not too shabby myself either. I have covered this on the front line, sort of the economic challenges that we've faced, as well as our successes, right? So, I think about sort of over the course of my career, all that I've seen in the markets, and it's been pretty extraordinary. I've been on the front lines of that, and as a result, I have a pretty good sixth sense of sort of the overall direction we're heading in, for better or for worse. And sometimes I see these things even too early. It's like, 2008, I saw that one coming a mile away. And the media is going to tell you one thing, and they're not always going to tell you the truth. And the financial community, same thing, right? They're not always going to tell you the truth. Well, Rob and I will tell you the truth. And that's why I started 76 Research, because I want you guys to have the truth when it comes to your money. The important thing to think about is not just 76 Research. Go there, you can subscribe, get the free stuff. 76 Report is a newsletter that we put out pretty often, several times a week, with a lot of information about what's going on in the overall markets, how you should think about it. There's some stock picks in there, but the real stuff that I want you to look at includes the model portfolios, because in each of the model portfolios, you're going to get 10 to 15 stocks that we really, really like and we feel are good opportunities for you to be in. And they're different. How do I say this? Like you can go out and buy NVIDIA, you can go get the S&P 500. If you're not invested in an S&P 500 index fund, that's always a good way to start, right? And it's going to give you exposure to some of those really high beta names in the tech space. But with our, say, American resilience portfolio, it's all about growth and opportunity in the American economy. We're trying to find names that are not as extreme in volatility as, say, an NVIDIA, which we like, right? Like I like semiconductors, Rob likes semiconductors, but we want to come up with an array of stocks that are not just sort of boilerplate that you would get in the S&P 500, that hopefully iron out some of these fluctuations that you see in the market, right? I'm all about the importance of diversification because I want you to do well, really well, consecutively, year after year in your investment. So go take a look there, 76research.com. That is my baby. I'm so proud of that. And I'm so proud that we were able to create that.